please, don't try anything that you're about to see us do at home. Ever.
On this episode of MythBusters, never say never again, because it's a secret agent sequel. Bond is back. First, Adam and Jamie munch on a myth about old Metal Mouth. Could evil henchman Jaws chomp through a cable car cable? Then, is the pen mightier than the grenade?
That's what we do on MythBusters. We blow up.
The guys ask, could a Q-designed ballpoint blow you in half? And finally, Carrie, Grant, and Tori take on Goldfinger's right-hand man, Odd Job.
I hear the heads fall off at the drop of a hat.
Can you really decapitate with a hat?
I like it.
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage.
I am the villain, Baron von Savage.
And Jamie Heineman.
Mush.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
Rise, my son.
Joining them, Grant Imahara.
Weapon of choice is a crossbow.
Tori Belleci.
It's getting dangerous now, and that's how we like it.
And Carrie Byron.
That is messed up!
They don't just tell the myths.
Wow, I can feel the pressure.
They put them to the test.
Is this really necessary?
Yeah, pretty much. We got so much response from the first Bond special, dude. We've got to do a number 2, and it's got to have a big opening.
Okay, well, what's on the docket?
Well, I come in, you're tied up, you're struggling, I taunt you, I gloat over you, I point the gun at you, and then I'm gonna ask you about one of your new secret weapons, I'm gonna show you one of my new secret weapons, and I think we even have a super henchman to test.
Well, untie me and let's get to work.
All right.
Baron von Savage is right. The first Bond special set off an avalanche of mail. So Heineman, James Heineman, is back with 3 more myths to put under the MythBusters microscope.
Let's do it.
I've got one for you.
Hit me with it, big man.
What do you see?
An ordinary imperialist ballpoint.
Well, that's what you might think, but actually, this was made for me by Q. And that turns it into an explosive device capable of blowing a person to smithereens.
Very nice.
We're talking about the Bond-saving gadget from GoldenEye. Yet another of Q's ingenious inventions. It's a Class 4 grenade concealed as a pen. In Q Branch Lab, we see it blow a dummy clean in half. But is the writing on the wall for the Bond ballpoint?
You always get so talkative after the second martini, James. What is your plan? Tell me.
Well, the first thing we need to do is precisely calculate the interior volume of this pen, and then shove all the explosives we can possibly fit in there and blow it out. And we'll see what kind of damage it does.
Excellent plan.
So first up, Jamie calculates the volume of the Bond ballpoint by packing it with diamond dust.
Like it holds about 3 cc's.
That's 3 cubic centimeters, less than a teaspoon of sugar. And while Jamie and Adam will be using some sweet explosives, can so little really do the job?
So 3 cc's of explosives would be what fits in this pen. Now, what we have to find out is whether it's enough to do what it did in the Bond film.
So like Bond in a tank through the streets of St. Petersburg, let's plow straight on. At the Alameda County bomb range, the tumbleweeds are tumbling, and the MythBusters are dressed to kill.
All right, I'm feeling a little underdressed.
Yes.
You didn't get the memo? I didn't get the memo.
We're doing James Bond myths this morning. We're exploding pens. You ready?
We're ready.
All right, let's go
do it.
Always at the ready to blow something up are retired FBI agent Frank Doyle and Sergeant J.D. Nelson from the Alameda County Sheriff's Department. And to whet your appetites, here's a look at their CV. Nice work, fellas. And today, Adam's got their first assignment penciled in.
The question for us is, if you pack this pen full of high explosives, will that be enough to blow the whole top off this dummy?
Now we're going to use the nastiest stuff we can get, so that means that we're only limited by the quantity we can fit in here.
Exactly what kind of explosives J.D. and Frank are using is highly classified information. But what Adam and Jamie can tell you is what they think it'll do.
All right, prediction time. What do you think?
I think it's going to take a chunk out of the dummy about the size of a grapefruit.
I think you're probably exactly right. That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't think it's going to blow the whole top off.
Only one way to find out.
All right, I'm going to go place it.
Okay.
Just like in GoldenEye, the pen grenade will be fired from the top pocket of the dummy.
James, allow me to demonstrate this new pen grenade. In 3, 2, 1.
That did exactly what it showed in the movie.
It did precisely.
Let's go inspect the damage, James.
The guys are confident of a confirmation, but on closer inspection, the pen bomb was nothing to write home about.
And from down at the bunker, the first small pen's worth of explosives looked just like the movie. We saw a boom, and then we saw no top half to our dummy. But that's not, in fact, quite what happened. It ended up doing exactly what Jamie predicted it would, which is punching about a grapefruit-sized hole in the chest. And that made the chest fail and fall off.
So while Jamie and Adam used the exact same size pen as Bond, chock full of high explosives, the result's not even close. There's just not enough firepower to completely blast the top half of the dummy away.
Now where do we go?
To a bigger pen, of course.
Okay.
In this case, the pen is absolutely mightier than the sword.
Okay, guys, our next myth is not about Bond, but about a Bond villain.
Who, Dr. No?
No.
Blofeld?
No.
Goldfinger.
Close. It's Goldfinger's henchman, Oddjob.
Ah, the dude with the hat.
That's right, Oddjob, who has a hat that looks regular, but when he throws it, it becomes a deadly projectile capable of cutting through steel, through people, and in the most famous scene, it decapitates a statue.
Awesome.
He's surely one of the all-time baddest Bond henchmen. Who could forget Goldfinger's corpulent Korean manservant armed with the horrifying headgear? In the movie, Oddjob's bowler hat is sharp enough to slice the head off a statue. But is this wearable weapon simply film world fantasy?
So I think we should concentrate on the statue scene. It's the most well-known, the real talking point.
I totally agree. So we need to get some statues.
Then we're gonna need some hats that we can reinforce.
You know, Adam knows a guy who makes exact replicas of the Oddjob hat. Razor disc and all. I'm gonna call and order a few.
Perfect. All we need to do now is throw the hats at the statues and see what happens.
All right.
So before we go head-to-head with the myth, Carrie and Tori go statue shopping.
That guy makes me jealous.
And seeing as it's impossible to tell exactly what the Goldfinger figurine was made out of, Tori puts in an order for 2. One made of soft plaster, the other from the much tougher concrete.
We have a problem, though. When they make these statues, they put reinforcement in them. They actually have rebar going right through the neck. Now, we know from the movie they didn't use any reinforcement. So we've come here to A. Silvestri Factory, where they're going to pour us a custom statue without any reinforcement at all.
Model maker Tori is obviously excited. Us? Well, it's a bit like watching concrete set. So let's head back to M7, where Carrie's unpacking the Oddjob hats from Henchman Accessories.
The replica hats that I got in the mail came with an aluminum ring that fits at the bottom for the cutting. Now, I don't have a lot of confidence in the aluminum because it's pretty soft and bendy, so I want to make some steel ones. I want to make one with a really sharp edge and one with a really blunt edge and see if maybe we can get some results with those.
So Carrie gets to work cutting out 2 steel hat brims, one that's heavy, blunt, and bludgeoning, and a lighter one with a razor-sharp edge. Meanwhile, Grant has pulled out an old friend, the sword-swinging ninja robot,
The timing was perfect.
who can also smash hammers and knock one out of the park. But now it's got an odd job to do, standing in for Odd Job.
So, I've built this mechanism, which is a pneumatic clamp. In order to stabilize it to keep it from flopping around like this, I've got a little platform here that we lay our hat on, so that this robot will hold onto the hat, fling it around, and then release it exactly when we want it to go.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing.
I'm making it up as I go along.
Coming up, hats fly and heads roll.
Shot!
And Adam and Jamie take a bite out of Jaw's steel teeth.
Made me!
Before Adam and Jamie go back and supersize their exploding pen, they've got a steely-jawed henchman to deal with.
What do we got?
Well, you know that no Bond film would be complete without an evil henchman, and we're about to test the evilest, the most vilest of all the Bond henchmen, arguably. This guy is so badass, they put him in not 1, but 2 Bond films.
You've got to be talking about Jaws.
Exactly. And what the fans want to know, what everyone wants to know is, could old Metal Mouth really have done all those incredible things he does in the movies with his metal teeth?
Like biting through the cable of a cable car?
It's like you're psychic. Exactly that one.
Let's set the scene in our Bond storyboard. In the movie Moonraker, 007 and his buxom babe are traveling down a cable car in Rio. Using his metallic mouth, Jaws bites through the steel cable, stopping the cable car and leaving Bond and his lady hanging. The question is there even a nibble of truth in this movie moment?
I'm ready. How are we going to do this?
All right. Well, to me, it looks like what Jaws is wearing in his mouth is actually like dentures. And I think that's where we should start. I'll make a pair of metal hardened dentures, and we'll start biting stuff with it.
So like an orthodontist on the Spectre payroll, Adam sinks his teeth into making a set of super hardened steel jaws.
These are the component parts of my one half of my super jaws. This is made posited on the model that you'd wear them like dentures. They'd be super strong steel. So now I'm going to start welding it together.
So how about some cool welding shots? Then some hot quench hardening shots. And finally, a disturbing shot. Of course, Adam won't actually be chomping the cable himself, so he fits the metal gnashers into an accurate replica skull.
So what I've got here is the human skull analog in terms of the breaking strength. I've got steel jaws, which are made to exactly the specifications that I can parse from looking at the movie. They look pretty much identical to me. Personally, I don't think they're going to make it through that cable.
After examining the movie, Adam is using exactly the same 1-inch braided steel rope. Now you can see why he has his doubts this will work. There's only one way to find out. Open wide and take a bite at the average human bite strength, 170 pounds per square inch.
170 pounds. Yeah, that's not doing nothing to the cable, man.
It's not even moving it. It's not denting it. It's nothing.
Yeah, nada.
The myth's hanging on by the skin of its teeth. But even upping the pressure to a superhuman 250 pounds leaves no mark.
Nothing. There is not a mark or a speck on this cable. We did nothing to it.
Nope. The fact is that these teeth are blunt. That's what they show in the movie. That's what we've built. You don't use a blunt tool to cut steel. It's not going to happen.
Where do you think we should go with this? I feel like any more weight, we're going to crush the skull.
Well, look, these things are beautifully made. They're exactly what we saw in the movie, but they have square edges. They're designed for crushing, not for cutting.
Right, and this is basically braided solid steel. You're not going to crush this until it fails.
Yeah, I mean, if I were designing a jaw for some big dude to cut cables, I'd give him a steel jaw. I'd put steel teeth that were hardened and sharpened, and then maybe we'd have a chance for cutting the cable.
Well, you want to do that?
I'd love to.
All right.
Jamie's got a license to weld, and he's going to use it. Meanwhile, Adam's not finished with his dentures.
Well, while Jamie builds his rig, I'd like to prove to you that I don't think my denture teeth have what it takes to cut through this cable. I'm going to hit my rig with a sledgehammer, which is easily 10 times the force we had on it before. You ready? Wait, there's the cable. Not a mark on them. And the skull, she has seen better days.
Adams hammered home the point. Even under extreme bite force, the jaws-like dentures couldn't cut the cable, and the pressure would bust Jaws' jawbone.
It's clear there's a lot more structure needed to even get close to cutting a cable with a human mouth.
Here's a heads up. If Bond Batty Oddjob is on your tail, keep your head down or you just might lose it. But Carrie, Grant, and Tori want to know if knocking a statue's block off is actually possible. While they wait for their custom-made models, Tori has made a substitute statue out of lightweight foam. And Carrie has prepared 2 Oddjob hats with deadly steel brims. One with a blunt edge to be head by bludgeoning, the other razor sharp.
Voila! I'm done with my odd job.
Meanwhile, Grant is rigging his sword-swinging robot to fling fedoras.
Cool!
But before he fine-tunes its aim and throwing speed, the guys want to get a reference for a human-powered throw. Cue the humans.
Let's calibrate Grant's killer hat-throwing robot. We've set up a little test. I have my odd job, steel-rimmed hats. We've set up this scale here. We have a target, which is Tori's lovely statue that he's created, and it's all going to be filmed on high speed so that we can make our calculations.
With everything set up and ready to go, Tori allows us a glimpse through the window of his soul.
So I finished my statue, and I like to call her, "Hey there, lonely girl." But I can't look at her too long, because she make me cry. So now we're going to try to chop her head off.
At first to knock it a block off is Oddjob Carrie.
Odd job throwing test.
Make us proud, Carrie.
The high speed captures the lethal grace of a Bond baddie in action. But remember, this test is all about calibrating a throwing speed. So next is Odd Job Grant. Followed by just plain old odd Tori.
Yeah! Good shot! Good shot! Knock the head right off. Cool, let's go look at the high speed, calculate all the velocities, and see what you need to set your robot at.
All right.
Yeah.
Back inside, Carrie crunches the numbers. And not only was Tori accurate, his was the fastest throw at 46 feet per second.
Okay, great. So what we're going to do now is calibrate the robot to what we can throw as humans. We'll set up a metal-rimmed hat, put it right in the clamp there, and start filming it with high speed to see how fast it's throwing. Okay, pulling the safeties.
All right, this is blunt steel hats. Calibration test in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, that's a pretty good throw.
Thanks.
Yep, Odd Job's robotic alter ego successfully throws the bowler in a smooth and deadly action. But is it throwing the bowler fast enough?
Right now, the robot is throwing at 54.7 feet per second, which is just a bit more than Tori. And we are justifying this by saying that, Tori's a pretty fit, pretty athletic guy. But, Odd Job, he's a professional henchman. I mean, you got to figure he's in a little bit better shape than, your average guy. So he's going to be throwing a little bit faster.
So all they need are the statues. How about these?
Hey, careful with those statues. I hear the heads fall off at the drop of a hat.
There are 2 statues from the statue store Tori and Carrie visited. One made of plaster,
Hey, how you guys doing?
one made of concrete.
Grant, the statue's got a crack in her.
And a third, bought online, is solid marble. And being from the internet, she's naked. So Carrie covers her up.
Carrie, I'm a little concerned that you're not going to have enough time to finish the challenge. Do you maybe want to rethink that top? Oh well, designers, make it work.
All right, so our statues have arrived. We have plaster, concrete, and our bonded marble, and none of them have reinforcement. Now what we're going to start doing is firing metal-rimmed hats at them and see if any of these heads will break off.
Next on the MythBusters James Bond special,
Oh, now we've done it. It's tasted real metal.
Janie's steel jaws get nasty. In this episode of MythBusters, the false teeth are flying. Jamie and Adam have taken a bite out of the Moonraker movie scene where arch-villain Jaws gnaws through an aerial tramway cable. But predictably, this myth was more than Adam's steel dentures could chew.
That's not doing nothing to the cable, man.
So we've ramped up to the ridiculous, and Jamie's bitten the bullet to create a superhuman set of fangs.
These are my jaws, and they're pretty beefy, but not much for cutting. So I'm going to start with this strap and attach it around the face of the jaw and cut the teeth out of it. And then I'm going to go through with a hard-facing welder. And that means that I can put some metal on top of the teeth that are really hard, and I can get a good, sharp, hard cutting surface on them.
Nobody's exactly sure of Jaws' facial anatomy. So while Adam's test presumed steel teeth, but a human jaw, Jamie's ramped up to steel jaw and steel teeth, killer teeth. Hopefully these bad boys will give us some kind of chance of biting through the cable.
What do you think?
Those are nasty.
They're hardened.
How'd you harden them?
I welded some hard facing on them.
That is stunning. Wow.
And I have these, just as a little test.
All right, there you go.
Vegetarians should look away now. It's a veritable slaughterhouse salad. But the grocery massacre doesn't stop there.
Oh, now we've done it. It's tasted real metal. Look at you.
Jamie's finished slicing and dicing his vegetable victims, but his jaws still have to mouth off against the 1-inch steel cable.
We're going to take 170 pounds, which is the human bite strength, and we're going to put it on top of these jaws, see whether they'll bite through the 1-inch cable. Personally, I don't think so.
That's 170.
Nothing.
Yeah, that's a lot of force,
It's got a hold of it.
but it's definitely not biting through the cable.
It looks like this myth is about to bite the dust. But remember, Jaws was a giant who could have had superhuman bite strength.
I'm not ready to call it. We have one more tool that I'd like to apply to this, which is Jamie's 10-ton hydraulic press. With 20,000 pounds of pressure on these jaws, if they don't bite through this cable, nothing in the shape of a jaw will bite through this cable. All right, so this is Jamie's super skilled teeth with a real cable, 20,000 pounds of pressure.
Okay.
Ready when you are. Your teeth are doing some damage. Dude, that is wrong.
I'm bending this.
Is it?
Yeah, I bent that. It's pretty well maxed out, though.
That's 20,000 pounds of pressure, and it still ain't through that cable.
Look, we used so much force on this that it bent my hydraulic press. It still didn't cut the cable. The idea that a human with some kind of metal teeth could bite a cable like this, it's just not happening. It's busted.
Jamie's called it, but let's get a conclusion straight from the source's mouth.
So, Jamie, what do you think? Could a man with metal teeth under any circumstances ever bite through a metal cable, or is it busted? Busted. I agree. Busted.
Which was no surprise. But this bite-sized myth has one more course to come. After the break,
Here comes my henchman now, and I will see my revenge!
meet Claus, the evilest cable-snapping sidekick ever. Despite building the nastiest steel gnashers ever, Adam and Jamie still couldn't bite through a cable car cable, leaving just one conclusion.
Busted!
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even these things wouldn't cut the cable.
Yeah.
So it's busted. But what are we going to do for a finale?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that, and I've got an idea. Hold on a second. Let me get into character.
James, I have the plan. We will turn you to the dark side and make you into a Bond henchman villain. We'll give you the power